Have a nice day. Today is Sunday, 23rd of March 2025. Now, starting the newspaper with the world news, including Israeli airstrike kills Hamas political leader in southern Gaza. Russian drones hit apartment buildings in Kyiv, Ukrainian officials say. Pope Francis to be released from the hospital on Sunday set for the first public appearance. Venezuela reaches agreement with the United States to resume repatriation flights of migrants. Donald Trump offers to cover astronauts. Sunita Williams backed more as a pay for staying overtime in space. Terrified of losing a medical care access as a trans woman, as Elon Musk's daughter slams controversial Nazi salute. Israeli strikes Lebanon in response to cross-border rocket fire. Six killed, eight injured in photos. The protests erupt in Turkey after the Istanbul mayor's arrest as a president vows a crackdown. Who is Netumbo Nande Naditwa Schmidt, Namibia's first female president? Triple N. Columbia University student Mohammed Khalil faces immigration hearing amid deportation fight. Cornell University student activist ordered to surrender amid United States deportation crackdown. Voice of America staff sue Trump administration was shuttered US-funded news outlets. Now from the Hindu newspaper, we have a brief. Israel launched more strikes on Lebanon after rocket fire. Damaged cars line on street following an Israeli strike that targeted a neighborhood in the southern Lebanese city of Tyre on March 22, 2025. Israel launches strikes on Lebanon in response to rocket attack. Hezbollah denies involvement, escalating tensions in the region. Israel launched a new wave of strike on Lebanon in response to a rocket attack from across the border on Saturday, March 22, 2025, as a militant group Hezbollah denied responsibility for the launch. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the Defense Minister Israel Katz ordered a second wave of strikes against dozens of Hezbollah targets in Lebanon, the defense ministry said, in the largest escalation since November 27 ceasefire. 3 killed, 15 injured in shooting at a young park in New Mexico's Las Cruces. Crime scenes technicians look over the young park parking a lot after a mass shooting overnight on Las Cruces on March 22, 2025. Gunshot victims ranging in age of from 16 to 36 were treated on the scene or sent or to area hospitals. 3 people died among and 15 injured. Others were injured after an altercation broke out Friday, March 21, 2025 at a park in the desert city of Las Cruces, New Mexico. Police said Saturday, March 22, 2025. Police and the fire crews arrived at just after 10 p.m. Friday, March 21, 2025 on the chaotic scene at the city's Young Park, where an unauthorized car show had drawn about 200 people, police said during a news conference. Gunshot victims ranging in the age of from 16 to 36 were treated on the scene or sent to area hospitals. United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund (UNICEF) calls on Taliban to lift ban on girls' education as new school year begins in Afghanistan. Afghan schoolgirls attend their classroom on the first day of the new school year in Kabul on March 25, 2023. The appeal by UNICEF comes as a school year began in Afghanistan without girls beyond 6th grade. The United Nations UN Children's Agency on Saturday, March 22, 2025 urged Afghanistan's Taliban rulers to immediately lift a lingering ban on girls' education to save the future of millions who have been deprived of their right to education since the Taliban returned to power in 2021. The appeal by UNICEF comes as a new school year began in Afghanistan without girls beyond 6th grade. The ban said the agency has deprived 4 lakh more girls of their right to education, bringing the total to 2.2 million. India was aware of anti-Hasina wave but could not interfere, says Jaishankar. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar highlighted the role of the external actors in Bangladesh and mentioned that China was not an advisory but a competitor. External Affairs Minister briefs members of Parliament on India's foreign policy with regard to Bangladesh. Myanmar says SARC is not off the table. India was aware of the anti-Sheikh Hasina wave building up in Bangladesh ahead of the violent overthrow of the former Prime Minister's government on August 5, 2024. External Affairs Minister Ajay Shankar informed the Consultative Committee to on External Affairs on Saturday, March 22, 2025. However, India was not in a position to do much as it lacked the necessary leverage or Miss Hasina, who could only be advised, he told members of the parliament. The Hindu has learned that Mr. Jaishankar indicated that India, like a few other leading stockholders, had been aware of the tumultuous situation inside the Bangladesh. In this regard, he mentioned that the United Nations Human Rights Chief Walker Turk's recent remarks about the United Nations warning the Bangladesh army against the confrontation with the unarmed protesters during the anti-Hasina protests. That such a move would prompt the United Nations to ban the army from the peacekeeping operations. Now going towards the Hindustan newspaper states that Heathrow airport fire delayed the Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee's UK visit by a day. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. Kolkata West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee trip to the United Kingdom had to be cut short by almost a day as her flight had to be rescheduled after a fire knocked out the power supply to Heathrow Airport. Supreme Court judge visited Manipur to monitor NALSA's relief efforts. During their visit, Supreme Court judges distributed relief materials to the internally displaced persons. Impala. A delegation of 5 Supreme Court judges arrived in Impala on Saturday for a 3-day visit to monitor ongoing initiatives of the National Legal Service Authority and ALSA, supporting communities affected by the ethnic clashes in Manipur and assure the internally displaced persons IDPs that a peace would return soon in the northeastern state. Going towards the economy of the country from the business point of view, banks called loan borrowers to settle accounts for loan extension after the Reserve Bank of India asked lenders to tighten the gold loans processes. In the September last year, the new system introduced by banks has come under the fire from borrowers. Earlier, borrowers could replace the jewelry on the same day by paying only the gold loan. Interest rule change has made it costlier for borrowers as they will have to borrow again to replace the loan and extend its tenure for another year. House panel flags variance in the railways lines are doubling projected data. Nearly 74% fund spent, but physical progress is just 39%. The panel said that the railways should exercise due to diligence in identifying and addressing obstacles to ensure seamless project execution. The target for railway line doubling in the upcoming financial year 2025-26 is 2,600 kilometers at the cost of rupees 32,000 crore. The Parliamentary Standing Committee on Railways has flagged the disparity or the total expenditure and the physical progress of the works begun under the doubling of the railway lines. One of the key projects of the railway is to increase the capacity and remove traffic bottlenecks. The committee said that while the financial utilization or the total amount spent on the doubling of railway lines up to December month 2024 for financial year 2024-25 was 74% of the budget, physical achievement was merely 39% of the target. How do astronauts recap after the space stay? Now from Science and Tech, we have a Boeing Crew flight test astronauts Buck Wilmore and Sunita Williams. Sunita Williams posed for a portrait inside the vestibule between the forward port of the International Space Station Harmony module and Boeing Starlink linear spacecraft in June month of 2024. Early on the March 19 Indian Standard Time, a SpaceX capsule bearing astronauts Sunita Williams, Barry Wilmore, Alexander Gorbunov, and Nick Hague splashed down in the Gulf of Mexico The four were returning from the International Space Station. ISS of their Miss Williams and Mr. Wilmore were wrapping up a 9 month stay on the International Space Station ISS, which they reached in June last year on board Boeing Starliner capsule. National Aeronautics and Space Administration (NASA), which employs Mr. Kager and Miss Williams and Mr. Wilmore, has reclaimed in place for the trio to help re-adapt to gravity. Mr. Gob now is from the Russia's Roscosmos. How does extended spaceflight affect humans? Microgravity affects the body in many ways, including the allowing fluids to flow more easily towards the brain, reducing muscle tension and lowering bone density. Astronauts thus maintain a strict routine of exercises and meditating on board the International Space Station, tailored, among the other things, to help work the body and engage the brain. NASA and the other space agencies have also crafted programs to make sure astronauts don't become stressed by their workload or by the confined space they are forced to occupy for months at a time. The NASA astronauts who returned to the Earth after 9 months in space have something of an entrepreneurial spirit, carried by the one step at a time, ethos and packed up by hard yards in the military and rigorous of being a test pilots. You don't look at a big problem altogether because I think it is a little intimidating. Sorry, you just take it over one day at a time with the people who are going to meet with you and really try to do a best job that you can. That is all teamwork, and that's what space travel is about. Fertilizers Committee warns against the funding of a nutrient subsidy schemes. The report also notes the improvement in selected crop growth with the modern fertilizers, urges the Center to develop domestic production capabilities. The Parliamentary Standing Committee on Chemicals and Fertilizers, headed by the Trinamool Congress MP Kirti Azad, has urged the Union Fertilizers Ministry to seek additional funds for the sector at this revised estimate stage to ensure that subsidy schemes for farmers are not negatively affected. In a report on demands for grants developed in the Parliament recently, the panel also recommended to the Centre expansion of production capacity of nano urea and nano diammonium phosphate (DAP) by ensuring the timely establishment of production units. Additionally, it called for a strategy to popularize these nano-fertilizers among the farmers. The committee noted that while the center facilitates agreements between Indian fertilizer companies and their counterparts in resource-rich countries to ensure the ability of raw material intermediates and finished fertilizers, no efforts have been made to secure mining lease agreements for extraction, exploration, and refining or production. It is urged the center to enter into such agreement to bolster domestic supply without introducing physical measures and pumping in government, public, and private investment. The goal of achieving self-sufficiency in the field of the fertilizers and difficulty to achieve, the report stated. The panel observed that while the Department of the Fertilizers had projected an outlay of rupees 1,84,704.63 crore for various schemes in 2025-2026, the Ministry of Finance has reduced this allocation by 7.38% to rupees 1,71,082.44 crore. The reduction has been made in both the nutrient-based subsidy NBS scheme and the urea-based subsidy scheme of the department. The report said, adding that this cut would affect the smooth implementation of the subsidy schemes. Creating jobs in agriculture is crucial as artificial intelligence is going to disrupt the service sector. The committee also highlighted underutilization of funds across various categories during 2024-25, including 20% under the indigenous phosphorus and potassium PK fertilizers, 12% under the imported PK, 14.76% under the indigenous urea, and 59.77% under market development assistance (MDA). It recommended that the center ensures full utilization of allocations in a planned manner with the continuity under various heads of ministry. Given the importance of the urea in the food grain production, and the panel stressed that the urea subsidy scheme must continue. No mismatch between circulating flu strains and the vaccine strains. Influenza cases peak during the monsoon season with the secondary peak during the winter. While the Health Organization recommends the influenza strains to be used in the vaccine for the coming flu season months, the advance based on currently circulating strains. World Health Organization recently announced the flu vaccine composition for the year 2025-26 Northern Hemisphere flu season. On the March 7 and March 8, several newspapers reported a surge of influenza flu cases in the Delhi NCR region, with some mentioning the spread as over 54%. The source of this news was a local survey, local circle of 13,000 people in the Delhi NCR region. While the estimate was not based on the clinical testing but on common viral fever symptoms, and the press release had only mentioned viral illness, COVID, flu, viral fever. Newspapers attributed the spike in the case to influenza. According to the NCDC's Integrated Disease Surveillance Program (IDSP), a data posted on February 27, 2025, there were 516 influenza cases and 6 deaths in January month this year. The number of flu cases across India for all of 2024 was 20,414 with 3,347 deaths. It is difficult to say if the cases reported in the month of January this year are higher than the same month last year, as IDSPI does not provide a segregated monthly data. Compared with the IDSP, the US CDC provides a weekly influenza surveillance report. For the Water Day, Prime Minister Modi says it is important to protect water for future generations. The United Nations observed the World Water Day annually to highlight the importance of the fresh water. Water has been a lifeline of civilizations, and thus it is more important to protect it for the future generations, says Prime Minister Modi. PM Narendra Modi on Saturday, March 22, 2025, underlined his government's commitment to conserve the water and promote sustainable development to mark the World Water Day. Water has been the lifeline of civilizations, and thus it is more important to protect it for the future generations, he said on Platform X. Water scarcity is not a new issue haunting the world. Nevertheless, it is still seen as a challenge that affects billions every year. The increasing water demand, coupled with the climate change and mismanagement, has made the water a scarce commodity, especially in developing countries like India. Scarcity essentially occurs when there is a limited availability of the resource in comparison to its demand. Water scarcity can occur due to a variety of reasons, including pollution, inefficient use, and climate change. Once again repeated, including pollution, inefficient use, and climate change. Most of these reasons point back to the destructive actions and habits of the human beings, and how humans take their own craves yet again while being around the mother nature. Two-thirds of the world's population is experiencing severe water scarcity for at least 1 month each year, and over 2 billion people live in the region with the inadequate water supply. The countries that face the most water scarcity are in the Middle East and North Africa, and including Bahrain, Cyprus, Kuwait, Lebanon, and Oman. These countries use at least 80% of their water supply for domestic needs, industry, livestock, and irrigation. Today, 2.4 billion people live in the water-stressed countries, depend as nations that withdraw 25% or more of their renewable freshwater resources to meet the water demand. According to the Niti Aayog report, nearly 600 million Indians face a high to extreme water stress, with around 2 lakh people dying annually due to the inadequate access to safe water. Major cities like Delhi, Bangalore, and Chennai are experiencing a severe water shortage, and the situation is expected to worsen with time. Hard-hit regions include Southern and Central Asia and North Africa, where the situation is considered critical. Even countries with a highly developed infrastructure, like the United States, are seeing water levels drop to record lows. Do you know a zero day is term used to describe the point at which a city or region runs out of usable water? This concept gained international attention when the Cape Town, South Africa nearly reached its zero-day crisis in 2018. The groundwater sources and reservoirs dried up. Authorities were forced to implement several water rationing to avoid complete depletion. Many other cities around the world, including Bangalore in India, face similar risks. If urgent action is not taken, major urban centers could experience their zero-day drought crisis soon. Water wastage is a significant contributor to the global water crisis. A typical shower can use between the 10 to 25 liters of water per minute. On average, a 10-minute shower can waste around 100 to 250 liters of water. In the United States, for example, more than 3.7 trillion liters of water are lost annually to faulty household plumbing. In 2010, the United Nations recognized the human right to water and sanitation, stating that everyone has right to sufficient, safe, acceptable, and affordable water for personal and domestic use. In the year of 2022, 2.52 billion people still lack the access to safety managed drinking water services, and 3.5 billion people still lack the safely managed sanitation. There are still around 2 billion people worldwide without access to safely managed drinking water services. Among them, 771 million people cannot access even basic drinking water services. Over half of the global population of 4.2 billion people lacks safely managed sanitation services. Doctors stress the need of screening to identify the cholesterol cancer early. Sunita Reddy, Managing Director of Apollo Hospital Group, was speaking at the press meet held on Friday. Tamil Nadu Gastroenterologist Trust, along with the Apollo Hospitals, are now organizing a colon cancer symposium 2025 on March 22nd. With the rising trend of the cholesterol cancer turning into the cause of concern, doctors raised the need for screening to identify and treat the cancer early. Cholesterol bowel cancer is cancer arising from the large intestines. Depending on the location in the large bowel, it can be either colon cancer or rectal cancer. It usually affects persons aged 50 and above. But one concern is that in India, around one-third of these cancers affect persons aged 40 to 50. Men are affected more than women, according to a press release. The trust, along with the Apollo Hospitals, is organizing colon cancer uh, symposium 2025 on Saturday, March 22nd, 2025 in India. 1 in 10,000 persons develop bowel cancer. However, 2 out of the 3 persons diagnosed with this cancer die in the same year due to the late diagnosis, the release said. Coimbatore Forest Division develops technology to tackle human-elephant conflict. A herd of elephant quenches in the thirst from the tank near a tribal settlement in the Coimbatore rainforest. A total of 185 persons died in an attack of wild elephants in the division from 2011 to 2024, while 207 elephants died of various reasons, including human intervention in the period. Being one of the hotbeds of negative interactions between humans and elephants, the Coimbatore Forest Division is in the efforts to adopt more technologies to mitigate the conflict situation. In addition to artificial intelligence-based AI early warning system to tackle elephant deaths due to the train collisions in the Madhukari forest range introduced in 2024, department has established towards the equipment with the thermal imaging optical cameras at 3 places to monitor movements of elephants towards the human habitations. Tencent launches a T1 reasoning model aimed at growing artificial intelligence competition in China. Tencent launched the official version of its T1 reasoning model, stepping up competitions in China's AI sector. The upgraded T1 model offers faster response times and enhanced capabilities for processing extended text documents, the company said. Chinese tech giant Tencent on Friday night launched the official version of its T1 reasoning model, stepping up competition with China's increasingly crowded artificial intelligence sector, upgraded even more efforts, faster response times, and enhanced capabilities for processing extended text documents, the company said in a post on its official WeChat account. T1 can keep the content or logic clear and text neat and clean. The post said, while the hallucination rate is extremely low. The launch comes amid a heightened rivalry in the China's artificial intelligence landscape, following the DeepSeek's introduction of models that offer comparable or the superior performance to Western system at substantially lower costs. India Brazil could play a key role in shaping climate talks, Conference of Party 30 President Designate. A file image of the President Designate of the forthcoming climate talks entry Lago. The United States exit from the Paris Agreement did not imply the Americans as a whole had abandoned the challenge of addressing warming, Henry Lago said. With the deepening divisions among the countries over the trade, the exit of the United States from the Paris Agreement, and multiplying disasters from the global warming, the president-designate of the forthcoming climate talks in the Belgium, Brazil, Henri Lago, a former ambassador of Brazil to India, said that this was a time that developing countries, including India and Brazil, could play a great role in shaping a conversation around addressing climate change. He stressed, however, that the United States exist did not imply that Americans as a whole had abandoned the challenge of addressing warming. At last, there's a famous personality throughout the world who is known by his famous name Nelson Rohila Mandela. Born in Rohila Hala, born on 18 July 1918 for up to 5 December 2013, was a South African anti-apartheid activist and a politician who served as the first president of the South Africa from 1994 to 1999. He was country's first black head of the state and the first elected in a fully representative domestic election. His comment focuses on dismantling the legacy of the apartheid by fostering racial reconciliation. Ideologically an African nationalist and the socialist, he served as the president of the African National Congress (ANC) party from 1991 to 1997. Mandela was a controversial figure for much of his life, although his critics on the right denounced him as a communist terrorist, and those on the far left demanded him too eager to negotiate and reconcile with the apartheid supporters. He gained international acclaim for his activism, globally regarded as the icon of democracy and social justice. He received more than 250 honors, including the Nobel Peace Prize. He is held in deep respect within South Africa, where he is often referred to as by his famous name Tambo, clan name Madiba, and is described as the father of the nation. Nelson Mandela says a very famous quotation. He says that everyone can rise above their circumstances and achieve success if they are dedicated to and passionate about what they do. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Nelson Mandela.